Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Fig Madeira. Today, actually before I get rolling, I have to say thank you to all my wonderful viewers and especially my subscribers. It means the world to me. I will keep working hard to try and bring you practical information that all us new fig growers can use right away, and hopefully that will help everyone. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today I would like to tackle the subject of watering. And the deeper I dug into this subject, the more difficult I found to give us a definitive guide. And that's why I couldn't find a definitive guide out there, because it depends on so many factors. I mean, watering can be the size of your container, the age of your tree, the temperature outside, your soil, your drainage, all of that. So, I thought instead of going that route, I'm going to go a different route. I want to go to a route of what are we trying to achieve? And the way I'm going to do this is by first making an admission to all of you. Every one of my trees here, whether it's my oldest, 3 years old, or my newest, have been overwatered by me constantly. And the question becomes, what is overwatering? Well, overwatering is anytime I come to my pot and I notice that the soil up top is moist and I give it water, that's overwatering. Anytime I dig an inch or two below and feel wetness down below and I give it water, that's overwatering. Anytime I see my drain hole wet, and by the way, I left this leaf here to show you overwatering. Anytime I see my drain hole wet like this and I water it, that's overwatering. So I ask myself, how am I been able to get figs when I have just been drowning them? And the only thing, and this is where I really want to lead you, the only thing that has protected my butt, even though I've had shriveled up figs under or overwatering. And see that, look at that, did you see the guy fall? My baby there fell. See that? These figs are not gonna stay there. This is underwatering, overwatering. And the reason why I'm not gonna tell you exactly it's overwatering or underwatering is there's so many reasons why your leaves could curl. It could be the type, like the Bordeaux type tends to curl its leaves. It could be that you're overwatering it and that's why it's perky and looking up. And it could be you're underwatering it. And it could be that I have root rot down below from overwatering. Whichever one it is, I wanted to figure out why I got lucky. And I did not get root rot. I checked this pot, and if I had the energy, I'd pull it out again. I pulled out this guy. I'll give you an example of another guy here in a minute. But how come I haven't gotten root rot? And it's been drainage. So we're gonna really hit on drainage. And the first question we have to ask ourselves is, if I have such good drainage, why am I getting yellowing of the leaves? And this is where I started to understand what drainage is. If you look at this tree here, I watered this yesterday. And if I came and I pulled them out, and this is us coming to an understanding that two rules. Figs don't like to sit in wet water. They don't want to sit in wet water. They don't like it. It's going to cause root rot. And figs don't like to be wet all the time. So with that idea, if I were to lift this, let's see if we can lift this guy up, and look inside, you would notice right away. I mean, look how wet that is. Oh my skies, that is too wet. And that tree is not happy sitting in that wet water. So what's the solution for this? And if I had such good drainage, why is it wet like that? And it's because of a dumb little mistake I made. When I took a look at the container after I pulled it out, I noticed these are the holes I drilled, and I had to say good morning and hello. What was I thinking? All this area is causing surface room, and your figs or your fig tree is sitting in this moisture underneath below here because it can't drain. The holes I should have done were these guys here. And I should have done like 8, 9 of them, and then I would have less surface room. So even if I made the big mistake of overwatering, if I have my pot draining, I'm gonna be fine. I'll give you an example. Let's overwater this guy. Now, if we were to follow the rules, let's take a look. So if we look here, if I dig just a little bit, I can tell this is wet. If I look at my drainage hole right below here, you could tell this is wet. So what I'm about to do right now is not good, but I still want to show you. So first, I want you to see how quick the soil drains. And by the way, while we're talking about this, as I water this, the only time that I've seen anybody underwater a fig tree is if they were doing something like this here. Coming over, and you see how there's room here in the side, and you see there's a space. And if you were to take water and pour so much of it here that it's spun off to the side, it's gonna drain right away from the side, and your fig tree's not getting the water in the middle. It's draining off to the pot. And that's the only time where people thought they were watering, but it was trickling off from the side. Other than that, all of us are overwatering. But back to the drainage. So if my soil is draining well, I just watered this fig tree, then what's going on with the pot? Now let's look at this guy. I think I did fix this guy up. Let's take a look. Do you see here? I just gave it a gallon of water right now, and still it's nice and dry down below. And why is that? Simply because it can drain. And that's what we want. Now, if we were to continue with this path, we don't want our figs to sit in water, and we don't want them to be wet all the time. And if we get our container proper, where no matter what, it's gonna drain from the bottom, then the only thing left for us to do is our soil mixture. And if we get the soil mixture where it just drains, we're on point. We will be set. I'm gonna give you a simple recipe. This is one I use. I don't like to, complicate anything. I like simple, quick, and easy. I use Miracle Grow moisture control. I use one part of it. I like the moisture control because it gives me that feeling that if I were to underwater the very few times in my life, I have the moisture control there. It also has some fertilizer in it. I use compost, any kind of compost, as long as it does not smell like manure. You want it to smell like earth, because if it smells like manure, it has a lot of nitrogen in it, you could burn your plants. And any kind of perlite, again, simple perlite. You can get, I like to get a thicker perlite, like a bigger grade of it, but really doesn't matter as long as you're using perlite. And just use one part, and one part. Whatever the part is, whether it's a big container, small container like this, if you're just planting a small plant, mix it up really good. All the amendments that we hear about, things like bone meal 444, lime and all that, we can always add later on. But what you want to achieve with your soil, folks, is get a consistency. I look around my yard and I realize I've experimented a lot with soil. And so every one of my soils drains differently, and every one of them is either heavier or lighter. Just establish a consistency, whichever formula you use, whatever soil you use, get a consistency so that you can start to feel and hear and see the behavior of your soil. And it will give you a feel of exactly how much water and when to water. But you just want to follow that rule. Keep my roots moist. Don't let me sit in water, and do not keep giving me water where I'm wet all the time. You follow those rules, and the one thing I can guarantee you is you are going to be able to grow some figs like I did, because I've been overwatering all these years. And the other guarantee I have for you is that you'll be safe. That if you do overwater once in a while, it's not going to be the end of the world. Everyone, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.